Let's talk about how to pass Citi's interview for 2022. What's up guys, it's Mike from Job Ready English here with another Pass the Interview video. Today we're going to be talking about Citibank, the updated video for 2022. Now don't forget, if you want more videos like this, and we're going to be cranking out a ton of Pass the Interview videos in 2022 and everything related to how to help you pass an interview and get a job here in the UK. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click like on this video and drop us a comment down below and let us know what video you'd like us to do next. Also, don't forget, down in the description below, you can get the 28 most common interview questions for free. You can also get the Citi Pass the Interview Prep Pack, which has everything that you need to make sure that you're ready to pass the interview when it comes up for you for Citi. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the Pass the Interview, you'll know the format that we go through, which is 5 fast facts about the company, which you can use when answering the all-important why this interview. Second, we talk about the interview format and what you can expect. And thirdly, we're going to cover the most common questions you can expect to come across based upon our research from publicly available sources, and also some other questions that cropped up that we thought were worthy of note. And I think today we have 11 questions that we're going to go through. So let's jump right into it. 5 fast facts about Citi. Fact number 1, Citi was founded in 1812, which makes it over 200 years old. Fact number 2, their mission is to enable growth and economic progress. Fact number 3, Citi is one of the largest banks in the world with over 200,000 employees across 100 countries and 6 continents. Quite astonishing. Fairly similar in size to Bank of America. Fact number 4, Citi was one of the earliest companies in 1997 to adjust its operating practices to address climate change and what its activities could do in order to reduce carbon emissions. And fact number 5, Citi is the 4th largest bank in the United States. Make sure you take note of those facts because you can use some or all of them in the all-important answer to the question, why do you want to work for Citi? Next up, let's talk about what you can expect for the structure of the interview. So we're expecting a high view video interview, which is going to last about 30 minutes. So you'll be given 30 seconds to prepare and a minute to answer, which is really pretty short. All in all, we'd probably be looking at somewhere like maybe 8 or even 10 questions, which is pretty nuts, come to think of it. Bearing in mind, BlackRock, you might have to answer 2 questions, JP Morgan, you might have to answer 3. So this is really quite a lot of questions to cram in. I'm not sure why they did this. A minute to answer is really super short as well. Bearing in mind that a minute is roughly about 125 words. If you speak faster than that, then you'll tend to gasp a lot or kind of fall over your sentences, or find that you're constantly kind of forgetting what you're saying because you're speaking so quickly. Plus there's no pauses in between what you're saying. Okay, so let's talk about most common questions. What can you expect? How can you answer them? How should you think about them? Of course, question number 1, why do you want to work for Citibank? You're always going to get asked this question. We've already given you 5 fast facts. In a minute, you can't really cram in a lot. 5 is probably the maximum that you're going to do. So this could be from their revenue, from their financials. Banks are really easy to research because they're constantly churning out financials. So you've got their latest quarterly statement. I always recommend, particularly if you're not like finance savvy, I'm not really that finance savvy. So what I tended to look at was the media report. So banks will generally put out a PDF or a PPT. Where they're essentially simplifying their results and the things that they've done for mainstream media. That tends to be super useful and also really short. If you're looking at the annual report, I just tend to look at the CEO or the chairman's statement, because basically that's where they contain all the good stuff, the challenges, the summaries that you needed. Could be corporate social responsibility projects, gender and diversity, climate change, whatever it is, new projects, new technology, just 4 or 5 key facts that are unique to Citi. So one thing that you want to steer away from is like, I want to work for them because they're a big bank and they're really prestigious and I could really learn and grow and blah. Like, it's so samey and it just sounds like everybody else. Question number 2, why this role? So this is always a question that you want to split into 2 parts. First of all, what would you do? So if you're going to go and be a corporate banking analyst, what would you do? If you're going to work in a finance department, what would you do? Just give me a really quick 30-second summary of these are the things that I would be expected to do. Obviously, that's not a lot of time to fit that in. And the second part of that question is, what skills do you need and what skills do you have? So these could be soft skills, teamwork, leadership, resolving conflict, interpersonal skills, attention to detail, problem analysis are generally skills that are super useful when working in high finance. The other thing is there could be hard skills, technical skills. So it could be Excel, Python, a particular coding language, a particular type of software that you're going to be using, which is relevant to this role. So throw that in there. Question number 3, tell me about yourself. If you don't know how to answer a personal introduction, we've got a fantastic handout for this. All you need to do is up above, just type into the YouTube bar, tell me about yourself, Job Ready English, and you'll be able to have access to that worksheet. It's absolutely brilliant. It's just been redone. It's a completely, it allows you to print it off and fill out the worksheet. It's so cool. Make sure that you check that out. But basically, in Tell Me About Yourself, you want to split this down into 6 parts. You might want to split this down a little bit more. So it's, what are you doing now? What did you do before? What do you want to do in the future? Work experience, extracurricular and volunteering, skills and interests. Now you might want to compress that a little bit. So you might just say what you're doing now, what your relevant work experience is, and skills and interests, just to fit that into the 60 seconds. But really what we're looking for is, hi, my name's Mike. Currently I'm a 2nd year bachelor student studying mathematics at Warwick University. Previously I had an internship at BNP Paribas working in their credit risk department and blah, 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 whatever. I just made that up. So something like that would be really, really good. What I would always say is when you're dealing with questions when you don't have a lot of time, timing yourself is the key. So just making sure that you've got a timer going on in the background. We tend to use something called Egg Timer, which is like e.ggtimer.com. It's wicked. It's just something really simple that you can keep an eye on and be able to pace and adjust your content as is required. But that is super handy. Question number 4, tell me about a time when you used your initiative. Initiative is basically not sitting there and being told what to do, or getting to a point you're like, I don't know what to do, and then you think, well, I know that how I can be useful. All it means is to initiate or to start something new, to go on and do something new. That's super important, yeah? So using your initiative is a really massive thing. And it just basically means like, oh, I had a project to do and I didn't know what to do, so I did some research and I read some books and I spoke to some people. It can be something as simple as that. It doesn't need to be rocket science. A lot of people, when they're faced with questions around initiative or innovation, they overthink it massively. What that means is that basically they're like, oh my God, like I need to have, made a rocket, or you don't. I mean, we use initiative all the time. We innovate all the time. We're constantly learning and applying new things all the time. Question number 5, name your strengths and weaknesses. 60 seconds, biggest strength for the role, biggest weakness for you. With the strength, make sure that you prove it just with a very short example. With the weakness, it's simple. It can be a relatively minor weakness. I always give the same one, that I could be quite disorganized. So what I tend to do is to say, I was disorganized and then this thing happened, which was not good, but not terrible. Then I learned from this and now I'm less disorganized. That's actually a lie, I'm more disorganized. But thankfully my team helped me to be not disorganized. I don't know. Anyway, I'm really bad at losing stuff and also finding stuff. So 1 strength, 1 weakness, 60 seconds, it's gotta be pretty quick. Tell me a time when you worked in a team to overcome a problem. This is basically just teamwork. So it could be project work at your university, it could be something that you had to do as part of a paid team, it could be something that you did in your volunteering to get a project done. Really important thing about teamwork is, communication. What did I need to do? Who was I speaking to? Wasn't scared to ask for help and wasn't scared to give help as well. Cool. So that's the 6 most common questions that we thought that you could expect with Citi, i.e. they were questions that seem to repeat themselves over and over again when people are saying, hey, this is what happened in my interview. So next we've got 5 more questions that we wanted to cover with you, just to kind of give you an idea about other questions that we found interesting. How has university helped you for this role? Banger. Love this question. There's also quite a cool question as well, which is, say for example, you applied for risk and you studied art, and you'd get asked a question like, well, why risk? You studied art. It's quite a difficult question. particularly if you're not prepared for it. So how has university helped to prepare me for this role? Loads of reasons. The ability to work in a team, to work on a deadline, to be multifaceted, to multitask, to communicate with strangers, to solve problems quickly, to work at a high level. You notice everything that I've just said isn't even relevant to the degree. It's just all of the skills that you've learned while being at university. Tell me about a time you completed a project, university, dissertation, exam, something to do with work. This is a reasonably easy one. It's a good thing just to kind of lay out the different tasks that needed to be done. And also, really important tip for this question, make sure you quantify it. So a lot of times students will be like, oh, I had to do loads of research. As opposed to you going, I had to read 17 books, which had an average length of 400 pages. Oh damn, that's quite a lot of research. So you'll see the difference when you quantify something. It does make it a lot easier to understand for your audience, because ultimately we work in pictures. So when someone says that's a big dog, you kind of sit there and go, I don't know, like a sausage dog, was it a Great Dane? And be like, oh, it's like a big German Shepherd. And you're like, oh, okay, because I can see the picture of a German Shepherd in my mind. How do you handle failure of teamwork? Nice question. Ultimately, failure in teamwork generally pans down to communication and expectations, right? So it's our inability to communicate with others, or our inability to communicate the expectations and what people meant to do. A lot of times when I've run teams, we have a team here through One Warrior, one of which, one of our businesses is Job Ready English. And generally when I find that teamwork fails, it's really just because people don't talk. They don't sit down and kind of go, hey, I need this from you, I'm going to do this, and this is when it's going to be done, and when should we check back in? People don't communicate, and then people get frustrated and angry, and they're like, you're a stupid doo-doo head. And it's just like, no, we just need to communicate a little bit better. How do we handle it? What can we learn? What can we do better? When have you had to meet multiple deadlines? For most students, this is relatively easy. It tends to be around exams, work, personal life. Exams are generally good, dissertations as well. Multiple deadlines could be just submitting different projects. I would say probably like 3 deadlines should be fine. You don't need to introduce 7, because again, a shortage of time. And tell me a time when you showed leadership. Companies are always looking for people who are going to grow and become leaders. It's maybe something that you've heard time and time again. You might think, oh, what? Like, yeah, everyone's got leadership skills. They really don't. I know from personal experience through hiring that I would much rather not hire someone and wait to hire someone who I think this person has the potential to stay and also to lead. Leadership begins with oneself as well. So I'm leading myself, and therefore I can lead others. Leading yourself could be like management, organization, planning goals, and effectively achieving what you said that you would do. That's really very important. So, a leadership skill doesn't have to be anything ostentatious or fancy. It can just simply be leading a group. That would be enough. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this new and updated Past the Interview video for Citi. Don't forget, if you want some more help to prepare, check out the Citi Past the Interview Prep Pack. It's got this research note, it's got competency and motivation questions, script templates and sample answers, a video masterclass, and also our course, which is a 60-minute interview prep course. Subscribe to the channel, like this video. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck with your interview. Bye.